Hello again, Record Hunter here. Cheers. Today I am celebrating an icon, one of my heroes from when I was a kid, actually, and grew up with my whole life. My dad listened to Black Sabbath, and my cousin listened to Sabbath and Ozzy, and which means that I listened to Sabbath and Ozzy. So when I was a kid, I knew like little kid, like Iron Man and stuff, but like my cousin really took me forward from Ozzy's solo career. But I'm going to show you the records I have of Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and I'm going to start with the first Black Sabbath record. Black Sabbath, before they became Black Sabbath, they were Mythology and formed in 1967. And in 1968, Ozzy put an ad out looking for a band, and Tony Iommi saw the ad and hired Geezer Butler and Ozzy Osbourne. The reason Ozzy Osbourne got the job is because he had a PA. They couldn't find a singer. So this is not the first. This is not the first press. This is the NIMS from 1976 pressing, which came off the 1969 plates of the Vertigo record. So it's like the closest thing you could hear to actually having a Vertigo record. And this is what it looked like in 1968, except for I don't have the Vertigo. I have the NIMS. They had this gatefold. And Evil Woman was on this record. And when it was finally released in the U.S. in January of 1970, they took that off. Which this is the 1970 version. And this is the first press, Warner Brothers. It's green, I believe it's the green label. And Mike from In the Groove, he did a really good video. You should go check it out. He just talks about all the different versions of this and what sounds the best. He really basically came down to the best sounding record is the first press of the Warner Brothers. And I actually tested out just against these two because those are the only two I had. And the drums on this sound amazing. So, okay, let's get into Paranoid. That's from 1970. Oh, and I was going to say, like the songs, you want to... The big songs off this is like the song Black Sabbath, NIB, The Wizard. Here's Paranoid, and this whole album is pretty solid. This came out in 1970. Like almost every song on here is like a hit. I mean, if you had to own one Black Sabbath record, I guess it would be this one. These, let's see, you have War Pigs, Paranoid, Planet Caravan, Iron Man, Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, and Fairies Wear Boots. Rat Salad's the only one that's not like a hit, but it's just like a little musical piece. And then I gotta show you my dad's copy that's beat to hell. So, but I kept my dad's records. So here's another one that was my dad's records. It was beat to hell, but it's a green label, original press. I don't know what he did to these records, but I remember when we were kids, he'd have like he'd be drinking, and he used to party all the time, like when he was younger. All these album covers that he has are all beat up, and he used to have these stackers, which would he put his automatic arm. It picks up and drops the records on top of each other. Oh man, I can't even imagine like doing that to my records. I mean, I've seen it firsthand when I was a little kid. I thought the thing was cool. It had the quadraphonic and all that stuff, but I hated the stacker, how it just dropped records on top of each other. And then here's a repress I got. Really nice. Both of them are, what do they call it? Where the lettering is, you can feel the lettering it's on the outside. But, there's a little bit of difference. Like, one is like, the purples are a little different in color. I think this one's lighter. It's repress. Okay, then here's volume 4. And it kind of had this like little booklet, which looks like it got a little damaged at some point, but a little water damage somewhere. Oh, jumping ahead again. Let's see. Black Sabbath, Masters of Reality. I would suggest to listen to Sweet Leaf. Children of the Grave. I wish I could have seen Bill Ward do that one more time. And Into the Void. This album, I would say Wheels of Confusion, Tomorrow's Dream, Changes. People love the ballad. Supernaut. St. Vitus's Dance. These are songs you probably want to jam off this. This one was my dad's. Here, this way I have a second copy. For some reason, those pages got torn out somehow. I bought this one at Rolling Stone Records back in the mid-80s, probably like 85, 86, 86. And the songs off this is Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. This has like a really wicked album cover. It's the alternative. And Sabbath Bloody Sabbath's great. Let's see, Sabra Cadabra, National Acrobat, Killing Yourself to Live. Here's another one of my dad's records, and I don't know what happened to this album cover. This is Sabotage. Boy, it's got beat up. But I do replace it. And Hole in the Sky. Symptoms of the Universe. It's the other song, Megalomania. Megalomania is a really long song, but a really good song. Then, okay, well, I remember when I was a kid. I was 17, just out of high school, and me and my buddy we did this whole, like, almost like vampire thing, where we only, just over the summer, we were, like, just hanging out at night. I get up around, like, 3 in the afternoon. We go outside and we just go, like, hang out at night. Then we go back to my house or his house, and we jam this Black Sabbath's Greatest Hits. Like, I liked all of Sabbath, but he always wanted to hear this. His name was Joe Caliendo. And we used to just jam this, like, all the time. Just the greatest hits. Great album cover, though. And here's another greatest hits that came out. This is Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll. Basically, it's the first 4 albums. And they released, Going Insane on the Radio. Which, I guess I jumped ahead, which is on Sabotage. But this came out before it. Which I should have shown that right here. Well, I don't. But this came out before that, and that there was like the hit that they were trying to make it a hit. It didn't really work out. They put it on Sabotage, and nothing really came of it. It's an okay song. They have much better songs. All the early stuff's much better. And then they came out with this record, which they're trying to go. This is a little bit of a weird album for them. They're starting to go like a little bit more blues than just so like heavy. And this is Technical Ecstasy. Backstreet Kids is a great song. Gypsy is a great song. Rock and Roll Doctor. Okay, now this next one, their last one with Ozzy. I believe this one's from 1978, and they fired Ozzy in 1979. But if you're a fan of Ozzy's first two albums, like they're trying to change their sound at this point. If you're really into like maybe, yeah, Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, and you're not familiar with this record, you're probably gonna like this record because it's really like right in that same direction. Ozzy sounds like that, and it's called Never Say Die. And I would suggest to listen to at least the two songs. Listen to Never Say Die and Johnny Blade. A little bit too late, in 1980, Ozzy's out of the band, but they did Black Sabbath's Live at Last, and it's just a bunch of like Ozzy songs. Tomorrow's Dream, Sweet Leaf, Killing Yourself to Live, Cornucopia, Snowblind, Children of the Grave, War Pigs, Wicked World, and Paranoid are on this record. Here's kind of a cool compilation I picked up maybe within the last 10 years. And it is Attention, Black Sabbath, Volume 2. And just basic generic compilations. There were some generic ones. I had some generic ones on cassette when I was a kid too. Okay, then after Ozzy left, Dio came in. I'm just going to show these real quick. I'm not going to talk that much about them because I'm talking about Ozzy, but I'm just going to show them real fast. Dio is with Sabbath at this point. Here's Heaven and Hell. Mob Rules. Live Evil. Then my favorite non-Ozzy Black Sabbath album with Ian Gillan from Deep Purple. I wish he would have done more with them, but he only did this one record, and this is Born Again. People say this is one of the worst album covers ever, and I think it's one of the most awesome, to be honest. And I heard they remixed this, and they may even like located some new songs, which is cool. So I'm looking forward to that whenever that comes out. Okay, here's Black Sabbath's 7 Star. This originally was supposed to be a Tony Iommi solo album, but Warner Brothers said, we don't know if we'll be able to sell it. You better make it a Black Sabbath record. And I think that came out after the Tony Martin stuff. It might have been Glenn Hughes might have been singing on that, and he was in Deep Purple at some point, and he was in Trapeze. But I don't have any of the Tony Martin stuff on vinyl, which is amazing. I need to get that stuff, and I need to get what's the other Dio record that he did when he came back. Can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, well here's Eternal Idol. Okay, back to Ozzy. Here's their Return record. When did this come out? This came out in I don't know, maybe 2012, 2013. 2013, I'd like to say, and it's Black Sabbath 13. And End of the Beginning, God is Dead, Zeitgeist. These were all pretty good songs on this record. Okay, now I'm going to show you some of Ozzy's, or maybe take a quick, not break, but show you a couple other things I have in between while I'm here. Also got this Black Sabbath box set. Has first 8 albums on it and a book, which is not coming out too easily. And it also has a DVD on there, like early from like 69, with where they're doing Paranoid, like a really early version of Paranoid, and Blue Suede Shoes by Carl Perkins. So that's It's just the first 8 albums plus that. Um, got this Osbourne's DVD. I kind of hated this, and I'm probably going to sell this on Marketplace right after I'm done with this video. I feel like they kind of they exploited Ozzy, and I love Ozzy, and I didn't watch it when it came out. Somebody told me to watch it. I picked it up. I don't like it, so it's gotta go. And then here's Black Sabbath, The Last Supper DVD. This came out in 1999. That's when they got back together. I thought this was going to be really great, and it has some great songs on here. And they screwed it up by putting the interviews. Even I wouldn't mind that they put the interviews in between the songs, but they put them like during the songs, like during the instrumental parts of the songs. It just really irritates me. Okay, I got this other thing I'm going to show you a little later, maybe at the end. It's special. Okay, hold on a minute. Cheers. So when I moved here in maybe 7 years ago, we were parked out in the back in the alley. I'm in Chicago, so I guess I should point this out. I'm in Chicago on not the nicest neighborhood on the south side. So we parked in the back and we went inside for about 10 minutes. And when I came out, we had the door locked, except the window was open a crack. Somebody got their hand in the door, opened it, and stole a stack of records about this big, about a little over 30 records. And it was my heavy metal section from N to P. So all my Ozzy stuff was gone. And I had that stuff since I was a kid, like my original stuff. And so I was able to replace most of it, and still to this day I haven't replaced it all. But I got the majority of it back. I'm going to show you what I got. So, got the Mr. Crowley live EP, and there's a song on here called You Said It All. Not released on anything else. It's from 1980. Blizzard of Oz. And the songs on here that you want to create, Crazy Train, of course. Let's see. I don't know, Crazy Train. Suicide Solution. Mr. Crowley. I always like that No Bones movie song, even though Suicide Solution. D. Goodbye to Romance. Great songs. Diary of a Madman. This is a great album too. Both the Randy Rhoads stuff, And Over the Mountain. Flying High Again. Can't Kill Rock and Roll. And then Ozzy. Then Randy Rhoads died in a helicopter accident, right? I believe it was helicopter or airplane accident. And what's that guy's name? Is it Paul Gillis? I just know it's the guitar player from Brad Gillis. Why was I saying Paul Gillis? Brad Gillis from Night Ranger takes over for a little while, and they do this album. I always thought this album cover was really cool. I always thought Ozzy looked awesome in this Speak of the Devil. Yeah. They do all Black Sabbath covers. They had to. How is Brad Gillis going to learn Randy Rhoads songs, in such a short amount of time? Okay, so then now it's 1984, I believe, it came out. And Bark at the Moon. Jakey Lee is now in the band. Great guitar player. Bark at the Moon, Rock and Roll Rebel. Great songs off this record. And here's some albums I never was able to replace. So, Ultimate Sin. This is the first time I've seen Ozzy, '86 with Metallica, and this album is great. Like, this is a great album. Killer of Giants, Shot in the Dark, Ultimate Sin. Fortunately, I found this for $1 at the thrift store. Many, I don't know, like not many years ago, before the pandemic. Maybe like right after my record collection was stolen. So, like maybe 7 years ago. And I was like, oh, no way, I'm going to get this because this one's kind of expensive. No record. Has a sleeve, has the cover, no record. Looked through all the records, couldn't find it. But they wanted like $3 for it, but they sold it to me for $1. So if anybody has an extra record with no cover that they want to spare and want to send it my way, I would really appreciate that. Oh, I'll say one thing about story time. So, in '86, the United, what's it? No, not the United Center. What's the name of that place? UIC Pavilion. Metallica goes on, they kill. I'm just gonna leave it at that. The story's not about them. It's about Ozzy. So Ozzy comes on, and Jakey Lee's all messed up. I mean, just drunk off of his ass, and they I don't even know if they played 40 minutes. They were so bad that they cut the show short. It was just like Ozzy was mad, but Ozzy was drunk too. It was just a nightmare of a show, and I was just so upset. And then they fired Jakey Lee, I think that night. In later years, I read that he was just started getting drunk because he got really screwed over by the record company and management, and guess something about like he was basically told from what I read that he quit the music business, and he basically was told that he was going to starve on the rest of his tour. He's going to contract. He's going to make something like $2,000 at the end of this tour. And then, but the songs that they're making, like $20,000 a song or some ridiculous amount of money, $1 million a record, and he was getting, I think he had $2,000 for the whole tour, and then they fired him right after. Actually, they fired him right after the Chicago show because he was just drunk out of his ass. Okay, and then Ozzy Osbourne's tributes. Ozzy Osbourne Randy Rhoads tributes. It's a great album. Really worth picking up. For some reason these days, this one's a little hard to find, but it's a great live album. And unfortunately, I had No Rest for the Wicked 2 on vinyl. And it's like a super expensive record now, and I'm not getting it anytime soon. It's like a $200 record, and I had it on vinyl. And I bought it originally used for like $3. So, well, not at the end of my video, but almost at the end of my video. I want to show you this special little thing I got here. So when I was a kid, back in 1986, I started crossing over from, so, how do I put it? Let me go back just a couple steps. So when I was a kid, when I was like 11, my cousin moved into the neighborhood which I lived in, and then we started listening to Ozzy, because he was like 3 years older than me. He listened to Ozzy and Rainbow and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and we're talking like 1983. And so he tried to school my dad. I know it's kind of funny. He's like, tried to school my dad. Oh, you don't understand. You're just into hippie stuff. My dad's, oh, I'm so into hippie stuff. Here's some of my hippie albums. Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, Blue Cheer, Uriah Heep. My cousin's like, okay, well, that's 83, but 86, so I'm now all into heavy metal, and I was even into like Twisted Sister and Scorpions and stuff that my cousin, because he was a little older, he already thought that stuff was like poser stuff, and I was not yet in Motley Crue. He wasn't into that. And he started getting into like thrash and stuff even before I. And so I started getting into like thrash and death metal and stuff because of Metallica. So it was 1986. So here's what when I was a kid, I used to shop out of this bin at Cruising Music, which was a thrash punk bin. That's how I got most of my records. But here's another way I used to find out about stuff. Here's the first Rip magazine from 1986, and Ozzy's on the cover, and basically it's like heavy metal meets punk. This is like the first time in like I guess major media. So this thing is just like it's talking about Ozzy, the Ramones, Motorhead, Black Flag, Metallica. So this is like where it's touching into both of the styles that were like the most important styles to me, the music that I grew up with. And on that note, I got to say, Ozzy Osbourne, I want to go thank you. Cheers. I hope you enjoy your retirement. I seen that you're up for maybe doing one more Black Sabbath record. Totally down for that. But yeah, just, retire from touring and stuff. It's just going to be too rough on you. And also, one more thing. I'm going to retire something myself tonight. My jacket here, my battle vest, has been battling with me for, I don't know, at least 10 years. Tonight, I'm going to retire my jacket and get a new one. And probably going to steal the Exodus patch off the back, maybe a couple other patches off here, and then just retire the other ones. But thank you. See you next time when the hunt is on. Please like and subscribe. Cheers, everyone. Ozzy rules.